Remember last episode when I boasted about having £150 million in the bank? We don't have £150 million in the bank anymore. In fact, we don't have a transfer budget of £100 million anymore. And it's January. A transfer's happened. A very big transfer. I don't think many people are going to like this transfer. Let's run the intro and show it. Yes, folks, how is it going? Welcome back to Prem. Today is episode number 110, and I have done a transfer that I did tweet about, so if you follow me at Work the Space, you got a little preview of it. It's a gamble, but I think it's a sensible gamble. Now, I will preface all of this with, remember that Florentine left the club last episode, so we sold this guy for £37 million. We were maybe a centre-back short, and I went and signed another centre-back. And the man I've signed is this guy, Craig Sweeney. 19 years old, 17 passing, 16 tackling, 16 positioning. I mean, you can see the attributes there. Very, very good player, very well-rounded player at 19 years old. Has no concept of defensive midfielder, but can also play centre mid. I don't know either. What's the damage, you might be wondering? £75 million. Now, in my defence, it is 45 million up front and then 10 million every January for the next 3 years. He was listed as Man City's hot prospect. I think he's going to be absolutely ridiculous with his potential, and I think he will be worth 75 million in many years to come. I appreciate when you look at him, you're sat thinking, that's the English tax you've paid there for an English player. And it absolutely is. That said, look, he played 11 games for Man City in the league this season. He's been playing regular first-team football for Man City. And as much as anything, I think it's just a bit of a big move to sign Man City's hot prospect. You know, we're flying high in the Premier League. Man City are struggling this season, down in 9th, having won the league the last 3 years. Why not steal their best young player? And by steal, I mean give them £75 million. Every time I say it, it hurts a little more. I will say, if you consider that we sold Florentine for 35 million, it's a net spend of 40 million. And I think when you look at it like that, given the fact he's 19, given the fact he has absolutely insane potential, Premier League quality already, I think it's going to be a really, really good signing longer term. That's the gamble, I suppose, you take with signing a 19-year-old. If he fulfills his potential, I'm confident. Right now, it's a bit 50-50. Anyway, let me know your initial thoughts down below. It opens up the opportunity to go to the free at the back system if we want to in future big games. I think next year, if we're going to be in the Champions League regularly, we will lean on that system more. Sweeney will be vital in playing that. In terms of the here and now, we've been sticking with the 4-2-3-1. We're unbeaten since we beat Tottenham to end last episode. We've drawn a lot, though. So we kick things off with a 3-2 win against Stoke. That's a very, very good result. And then we took on Wolverhampton Wanderers. They had us sending off in the 31st minute. We scored just before half-time, and I thought, well, that's job done. 1-0 up, it's going to be fine. It was not fine. They were very, very good, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Last season, they finished 12th. Right now, they're in 11th. They're a good little team, and, well, maybe I should have shown them more respect. Now, after that game, I did miss a European away day. Yeah, and boo me. And you know what? We've made it through the Conference League. That's great. But we did draw this game here. So if there are away day gods up in the heavens looking down on me, I think they cursed us for this game here. We took on WSG. We took the lead twice. Ganino got injured. Warunga scored an own goal in the 89th minute. And off the back of that, I'm now trying to sell him because he's made me very angry. And if you're wondering, do WSG Tyrrell have some really good players? Their best player is this man, Dirk Hansen. We should be beating a team whose key player is Dirk Hansen. No one can convince me otherwise. Anyway, with that draw out the way, the rotated team, a really good result against Chelsea. 1-0 there, and we did wrap up the Conference League with a 5-0 win. 5 different goal scorers in this. Alanis continuing his great goal-scoring run. And I hate to talk about him all the time. Can we discuss his development? Can we discuss his improvement? His jumping reach has gone up by 2. Since he joined the club 6 months ago. I don't know if we've just got him bouncing on a trampoline all day at the training ground, but nevertheless, he's looking like a really good player. After that 5-0 win, bit disappointing to draw, I suppose, 1-1 against Manchester United, albeit at Old Trafford. Of course, we collapsed and lost here 3-0 last season. So we should look at the positives a little bit. In this game, Lemos got the all-important goal. Lemos has now 11 goals in 18 games, which I actually think is a really, really good return. Having one of his best seasons in Guernsey colours, he could be on for double figures this season. After that draw, we maintained our defence to the Carabao Cup, beating Brentford 3-1 and, well, most recently, 2-2 against Southampton. 2-2 in a game where we were winning 2-0 and we bottled it. And Grasser, who just last episode I was talking about, not knowing if he was a nutcase or not. It turns out he is a nutcase. He got sent off in this game. Straight red card, killed a man. Last episode we were discussing, can you really trust Grasser? Is he a player you leave on the pitch with a yellow card? Is it okay to do that? Well, we have our answer now. You can see, very inconspicuous build-up play, not a lot happening. Player gets in behind him and he just decides, you know what, nah, you're not going past me, you're going down. And, well, he snapped Rubio's shins. Ref didn't think for very long. He was already walking off the pitch as the red card was shown. And from there, Southampton got a point. That said, we are still unbeaten, and despite that pretty patchy form, albeit with some tricky games, we are still top of the league as we approach the halfway point in the season. What I will say is, Tottenham are tied on points with us, Arsenal are only 1 point behind us, but of note, we have only played 18 games. We've got a lot of games in hand, which on the one hand is a massive positive. On the other, knowing that we're still in each and every competition we could be, I know the scheduling's going to be pretty brutal coming up. Now, in terms of the plan for this episode, we are going to be doing the game against Newcastle United in the Premier League. It's a home game, we should beat them, and after that, Carabao Cup semi-final, Wolverhampton Wanderers, 2 for the price of 1, or 3 for the price of 2. We're doing 3 matches today. It's 2-legged, of course, that semi-final. I'm not going to drink Carabao energy drink tonight because it is currently 10 p.m, and that seems ill-advised. Some people, they don't respect the Carabao Cup. I very much do respect it. And having slipped up against Wolves recently in the league, I'd quite like to beat them in the Cup. But before all of that, the small matter of Newcastle United. A Newcastle United team that in this save game haven't really benefited from all the money that they get at the start of a Football Manager save game. That said, despite the fact they are now in the process of a board takeover and the funding was pulled some years ago, they are currently up in the Champions League spots. They do have a media prediction of 5th, and of course, just a little reminder, they've got the scary player, Emmanuel Rabigiri. Yeah, last few seasons we've played Newcastle on the last day, and as a result of those games finished behind them, I want revenge for those games today. We could have been in Champions League football 2 years ago had we beaten Newcastle. I want to beat them today. Now, in terms of team news for today's game, Big Knot, remember he got injured? He got injured again. He has had an awful season for injuries, which is a little bit sad. Picked up an injury against Chelsea, still coming back, and whilst he did pass a fitness test, he's not very match sharp, so I'm just not going to risk him here. It does mean that Diallo is going to come in for a start out on the right-hand side. Diallo, by the way, looking absolutely phenomenal. He finished 3rd in the French Player of the Year voting, for what it's worth. I mean, he only has 2 goals in the league. He has got 18 goals across all competitions. 11 of them have come in the Conference League, but don't let that deceive you. Now, you might notice for today's game, JV is on the bench. JV started the season absolutely amazingly and has not been very good since. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say it. He's been a set-piece merchant. He only gets good ratings when he assists a corner. So with that in mind, Alunga is going to be holding down the regista role, and when you look at his recent form, by comparison, he's been doing pretty well. By all accounts, the 21-year-old continuing to improve, which we love to see. A more complete player, which I think suits the regista role within our system. Alongside him for today's game, you might notice McKillop is in at defensive mid. Grasser is suspended. Luis Gagliardino, who I probably would have started at defensive mid, is injured, unfortunately, for today's game. And whilst there was a temptation to, give Craig Sweeney a debut in this match starting, he can't play defensive mid. So I don't really want to teach him a new position. I know, I'm a changed man. Not teaching a player to play defensive mid, but I'm not going to do it. I think Sweeney's future is at centre-back. I'm resisting the temptation to start him at centre-back in this game. Might give him his debut against Wolves, or at least his first start in the coming games. Good news, Manny Wilford back from his fractured back. Bit of a relief, really, because as much as I love Francisco, I don't want to have to give him that wage rise. Just as a reminder, after 25 league games, he'll be on £115,000 a week. He's now played 7 games. So whilst there might have been a temptation not to start Manny Wilford, given the fact he's not 100% fit, I need to pinch pennies. He says, having spent 75 million, Wilford starting today. So Newcastle United for this game are playing a 4-3-3. Going to be interesting to see how that matches up against us. I have found this year, teams that have a defensive midfielder seem to do a better job of shutting down Lemos and also the inside forwards as they cut inside. We'll see whether or not that's going to be the case here. Early on, Newcastle having a lot of the ball, and while they are in possession as the first highlight of the game commences, Rabigiri trying to play it inside. Rojas wins the ball and lays it to his compatriot in Rios. We're looking to just knock the ball around the back here. Alunga forward. Alanis, what a ball that is. Can the Mexican finish it? Of course he can. It's his 24th goal of the season. Erling Haaland, eat your heart out. Alanis is going to get 50 this season, combining with the Conference League. He has been one of our top goal scorers in the league, and well, I tried to justify the selection of Elunga. I feel like I don't need to try and justify it anymore. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the assist. By the way, Alanis, still not played for the Mexican national team. Give the man a cap. He's getting sunburn on the back of his neck out here. And well, maybe I'm getting carried away. We've got a highlight immediately. It's a kickoff one. And it's Newcastle United with the ball, looking to respond immediately. Leo playing it wide to Kanini, inside to Rabigiri. Jeannot now switches the play onto the far side. Giamfi could be called into defensive action. Not a great clearance, but well, Manny Wilford collects. And now we'll look to build from the back potentially and go again. Our goalkeeper clutching onto it. Of course, always has the option to go long as well. And on this occasion, is exactly what he's going to do. Lemos going to get to the second ball. Rojas, who's really excelled at right back this year, playing it wide to Diallo, who has forced his way into the first team. He's held it up nicely, pulls it back to Lemos. His shot's blocked, falls back to Lemos, and he probably should have hit the target there. Set piece for us to deal with here. Rabigiri going to put it towards the back post. Floated away initially, but still not immediately away from danger. Manny Wilford getting plenty of early touches on the ball in this game as he's forced to distribute it short to Rios again. Alunga, the assister, laying it back to Coppo, who, well, of our two centre-backs, Coppo might be the man who needs to fear Sweeney more. Rios, just a fantastic passer of the ball, someone who can pick out a pass from deep superbly, much like Alunga can here. That is an ambitious ball towards Diallo, and I mean, Diallo's quick, he's not that quick, but he's worked hard to get the ball back here, and he's now cutting inside. Unfortunately, hacked down, and now it's Newcastle looking to bring it forward. Coppo, vital header. This is a very, very open game early on. Cadman, can he cut in from the outside? Lays it back Giamfi. He takes it down. Lemos, a bit of a heavy touch, but manages to get hold of it. Puts it in the box, and I'll tell you what, Alanis, he's hit the woodwork. He could have doubled his tally. Newcastle United currently with 61% of the ball, but despite all of that, yet to have a shot on target. We're being a bit, well, I was going to say a bit more creative, a bit more direct. We're not really being that direct at all, but given our lack of possession, I am just going to nudge up the directness slightly. As Newcastle come forward, maybe space in behind their fullbacks to attack them, or maybe a set-piece opportunity here. Rojas, the right back, floating it back post. Rios is there, and well, normally he's a heading merchant. He's just volleyed that into the top corner. The two Argentina internationals have linked up. I mean, I did not know Rios had that in his locker. I mean, I've not seen in his locker. I don't know what's in there, but apparently volleys into the top corner are one such thing. It's 2-0. I have to admit, I am slightly aware that we've been having this really good run of form lately, but it does feel like all the big teams we're taking on at home. And when we take them on at home, we tend to play quite well. It's 3-0 here. Rios has just scored a header from a corner. I mean, we know he's got that in his locker. He's been doing it all season. He has 2 hat-tricks already this year, the centre-back. He's now on for a third. Is anyone else hoping that we get a penalty so he can take it? I am a little bit. It's half-time here. It's 3-0. I've got a few players on bookings here. With that in mind, I'm just going to rotate things around. Giamfi off for Bujak. Of course, Bujak, the Polish left wing-back, not perhaps developed as much as I hoped he might during his time at the club, but still a very, very adequate backup player, who, of course, is still only 19. Both our centre-mids are on bookings. McKillop is the player who, well, is in that more defensive role. I'm going to take him off. Who am I going to bring on in his place, though? I guess we'll have to bring in Kovacevic, which I don't really love as the defensive midfielder option, but of the players we have, he's probably the best. I'm also going to take off Alunga, and given the fact we're 3-0 up, Jaime's going to come in and play Regista. Jaime is a little bit unhappy at the club at the moment. There's been a few offers from Spain of no more than £10 million. Given the fact that he is one of a few influential players in the changing room, I'd like to keep him around. Of course, we've got Jaime, we've got Tejera. They are two very influential players who are playing less and less football this year. I'm not sure I should be selling either of them, though, really, just because influential players are hard to come by, and whilst I do expect them to fall down the pecking order a little bit, I'd kind of like that to happen naturally and players to rise through the ranks rather than just having this leadership vacuum at the top of the club. Cadman and Lemos are absolutely exhausted here. Let's make some changes. Big Knot's going to come and play through the middle. In fact, no, I tell a lie. Big Knot's going to go and play on the right. Diallo's going to play on the left-hand side where we're training him to play. Sula is going to play through the middle. And yeah, Diallo, I mean, I want him to learn to play inside forward. He has actually almost learnt it now. Maybe today's the day he goes from competent to accomplished. One can hope. With 10 minutes left here, it's still 3-0 up. Newcastle really limited in the amount of chances they've created. We've made the most of set pieces, but equally, we've looked very, very solid defensively. And Jaime, oh my word, what a ball that is. That probably should have been a goal. And had we scored it, it would have been sensational. Jaime outside the foot pass. And I've just realised, how have I forgotten about this? We're playing against Greg today. I mean, no wonder we've scored 3. I say that. None of them were Greg's fault. It's never Greg's fault when he concedes a goal, be it for us or Newcastle. Big Knot's just got in behind. Sulla's there, hits it, it's blocked. I mean, I feel bad that we've scored 3 against Greg now, because I'm his biggest fan. When we sold him, I titled the episode, I Sold a Fan Favourite. Half the comments were there going, didn't care about Greg, never cared about Greg. If you didn't care about Greg, you're not a real fan. Started superbly, of course, with that Alanis goal, and from there, Rios, 2 set-piece goals for the centre-back. I'm sad he didn't get his hat-trick. Unfortunately for us, Tottenham and Arsenal won. And remember Liverpool when they were down in 14th, and I was saying, yeah, they're rubbish, they're terrible. Suddenly they're up to 4th. Yeah, Liverpool, having beaten us, have gone on this mental run of form. Remember when they took us on and won 3-1? They were 14th at that point. Look at their form prior to that. They beat us, and now suddenly they're just murdering every team in sight, except Newcastle. They could only draw 2-2 against them. If you're wondering how Volashak's doing out on loan, I think of the centre-backs we've got out on loan, he's the one who I have highest hopes for. Truth be told, pretty disappointing. I mean, I loaned him to Leicester because I thought they'd bounce back. Media prediction of 2nd. They're currently 8th in the Championship, but at least he's playing regular football for them. Okay, as good as that first game was, and it was a good result, I'm very, very happy with it, we have got to take on Roberto De Zerbi's Wolverhampton Wanderers team in the Carabao Cup. It's January, the fixtures are coming thick and fast, and in fact, this game is in 2 days' time. Going to rest up the players, we're probably going to have to rotate things around a little bit. It's going to be a tricky one. Don't go anywhere. Well, if you're wondering how are Man City going to spend the money I've sent them, we have our answer. They've decided to sign Jerome Lasserre from Everton for £118 million. I mean, on paper, his physicals are good, his mentals are good, his technicals are a bit... 23 years old, though, so he's young, he could get better. But £118 million for a man who scored 5 goals in 21 this year, albeit for Everton. We've got to take that into consideration. I feel fine now about spending $75 million on Sweeney. And speaking of Sweeney, won't be playing today. I forgot he's cup tied. So, yeah, he'll make his live commentary debut next episode. Maybe. Now, in terms of the team for this game against Wolves, I am going to rotate things a little bit. We play Wolves today. We then have an FA Cup game against Exeter where I plan to play the B team. And hopefully, if I've rotated the team correctly, it'll mean for the second leg against Wolves, we can be at full strength. In terms of the team we've got for this game, there are a handful of players who played the previous game who are also featuring here. But for the most part, it's the team that's been playing in the Conference League quite a lot. Anyway, we are doing the first and second leg of the games today. So let's get straight into this one. Ganino and Big Knot coming back from injury. Hopefully they don't get any further knocks, but a chance to get them some match sharpness. As for Wolves' team, going to be interesting to see if they've rotated things around or if instead they've, decided to play a full-strength team that might be a little bit tired going into this one. I'm just having a quick look at the condition of the Wolverhampton Wanderers players starting this game. There are a few tired legs out there, but, tired legs don't matter if you score a free kick from 35 yards out. Francisco in goal did not do well there. Be honest, when you saw the highlight begin, did you think it was going to end up in the back of the net? I thought it was going to be one of the stupid ones where it hits the woodwork and go over. It wasn't one of those. So, we're behind immediately. So, we're going to have to respond. Of course, we have got plenty of the normal starters on the bench for today's game that we could look to bring on to really change the game. But ideally, I protect them a little bit and we at least leave ourselves with a draw here so we can come back in the second leg. Of course, it won't all be settled today. But, there could be a lot going on today because this could be 1-1. The ref is going to check VAR. The finish, by the way, by Alanis is absolutely ridiculous on the volley. It was Özcan with the assist. The goal is going to count. It is 1-1. The ball, who was it by here? Was it JV? It was JV. Switch the play there. Özcan keeps the ball alive, crosses it in, and then this finish. I mean, no one's saving that. No one. Secretly, going into this game, I was sat thinking, I really hope there's not a load of highlights. We've got 3 matches in today's episode. I don't want the episode to be too long. Early on here, seems like I might not get my wish, but I think that's probably a positive for you guys at home. Of course, I've said all of that, and now having scored to equalise in the 6th minute, nothing has happened now until the 41st minute, but we maybe have half a chance here. Ball thrown into the box. It could be Wolves looking to hit us on the counter here. Kelso Young bringing the ball forward on the near side, holds it up nicely and lays it back. Did notice Bulak at left back is, carrying a little bit of a knock here, so might take him off at half time. I think Giampi is on the bench. Ball is launched forward here. We're not going to get there, but Big Knot's there for the second ball, and now we've got men streaming forward. Diallo pulls the trigger from range, and I'm not sure why. His effort's been blocked. We now need to do some defending of our own. Curtis Jones, who must be like 50 years old in this universe, by the way, is on the pitch for them. Unfortunately for him, he's been dispossessed, and we're back at the back with the ball. Grassa, oh my word, that is a ridiculous pass to Diallo. Can he finish it? Difficult angle. I mean, it's hit the post and gone in. It is Diallo's brand. Was that goal 19 of the season? He's scored a lot this season. Grassa, back in the team today, was suspended for the league game, so he was fit for this one. Opted to start him at that defensive mid role. That pass was ridiculous. And I mean, the finish itself, not too shabby either. Half-time here, 2-1 to the good. Of course, just a little reminder, there are 2 legs here. Going to tell the players it's important to remain focused. Not a bad performance. Their only goal came from that free kick. That late breakaway for them, just a little reminder, they are still going to be dangerous. Wolves have talent, they have quality. They are 11th in the Premier League for a reason. We need to respect them here, but well, maybe a chance for us to make something happen. JV to Grassi, who's already shown his passing range. Buyak I have still left on the pitch for now. Getting to the byline with his injury, lays it to Diallo. His effort's blocked, falls to Nino, whose effort is also parried away unconvincingly, but well, the first half here starts with a little bit of pressure. I'm going to take off Buyak. I'm going to bring in Jamfi. Elsewhere, Warunga has not played well today, so I'm just going to play things safe, and I think I'm bringing Koppo. And of course, as I do that change, Warunga scores. We'll cancel the sub. Warunga, you're not coming off, mate. Koppo, put your tracksuit back on, mate. No, you're not coming on. Sorry. I mean, it's a corner. It's JV. He floats in. Tejera heads it. It hits the woodwork, and then, well, Warunga scored from a yard out. It's not an incredible finish by him, is it? We will still take off Buyak. I love the fact that he was on a terrible rating. He gets a goal, and now he's suddenly on a 7.1. And mentally, I feel like I can't possibly take him off. We're about to score immediately. Big Knot, effort block, Sulla hits over. We've started this second half very lively. Wolves looking to play it out from the back here. Of course, with our system, you'll see the shadow striker presses high, the striker presses high. The wider players will sit just inside the fullbacks as well. It's a system and a kind of setup that when we press from the off makes it very difficult to play out from the back. And well, you can see here, we win the ball in a good little area. JV bringing it forward. Not the best of balls by the Regista, but well, maybe another chance here as Ganino is going to recycle possession. JV back to Ganino, who when he has started at right back has really impressed me this year. And with passing like that, can you be surprised? Oh my word. What a goal that is. Big Knot crosses it in. Alanis nods it home. It's 4-1. This ball by Ganino is sensational. And then Big Knot turns on the afterburners, uses all 16 of his acceleration, and just a little glancing header across goal. Finds the bottom corner. Keeper had no chance. I was nervous about this game after we went a goal down. I need not worry. Set piece for us here. JV over it is going to float it in. Tejera's there. Tejera scores. It's 5-1. I might not be coming back for the second leg. I might find a different game for us to do. Only a couple minutes left here. Ball played forward. Is Alanis going to get there? He is. It's blocked. I was convinced he was offside. He's not offside. Diallo's effort saved. It's the weirdest highlight I've seen in a long time in Football Manager. Sometimes in Football Manager you sit there and you think, I've seen that highlight before. I hadn't seen that one. Unfortunately, it's not resulted in a goal for us, but I don't think it's going to matter because this game here is going to finish 5-1. Tejera, by the way, ended up on an 8.8 rating. 1 goal, 1 assist. Oh, I'm never going to be able to sell him, am I? Very, very happy with that, lads. That is way better than I was expecting in that game there. Having struggled against them in the league, I wasn't so sure. Their tired legs look like they cost them. In the other semi-final, by the way, it's Arsenal v Liverpool. Liverpool, the team in form in the whole of England right now. They've won the first leg away from home 1-0. Buyak and Big Knot have picked up very, very minor injuries, but certainly not the end of the road. Apparently, Ivo Vieira was there, scouting out Tejera and Grassa. Get Tejera in the Portuguese national team setup. How has he not got a cap yet? I might start a Twitter campaign, to get Tejera a cap. We'll start tweeting very angrily. So I'm just looking at the upcoming games because I was going to do the second leg against Wolves. It feels a tad redundant, having won that last game 5-1. So instead of focusing on Exeter or Wolves, we'll come back and do an away day to Carrow Road. I've already given it a terrible away day score. Norwich City currently down in 11th place, although their media prediction was 18th, so they're doing way better than was expected of them. And to make it worth the wait, for all of you who have waited for this moment and got to the third match of today's episode, I'm going to play Craig Sweeney in it. I'll join you at Carrow Road in a moment. Okay, folks, we are back. Game number 3. This is way later than I expected to be recording, but after that last game, I thought We don't need to worry about the second leg against Wolves. The good news is we didn't need to worry about that second leg against Wolves because we won that game 2-1. Convincing result here. Teixeira with a goal, Gaspar with a goal. Turns out the game I didn't need to worry about was the game against Exeter because we drew against them in the FA Cup third round. Sweeney made his debut in the FA Cup and we couldn't beat Exeter. Now, to be fair, Exeter, great team in League One, currently 16th, doing really, really well. We have to play them in a replay. That's not great with the current tired state of our squad. Before we talk about that, though, we should talk about some transfer stuff that might or might not be happening. I don't know. It's very late. I feel like tiredness is influencing my transfer decision making, but Warunga could be on his way out of the door. We've accepted a bid from Salzburg that is £35 million, could rise up to, I think, 38 million. Ultimately, that's a lot of money for Warunga, and as much as I love him, and he is only a few months away from being homegrown at club, during his time at the club, he really hasn't developed as much as I hoped he would. He is now 21 years old. He's not getting any younger. And I feel like I now have to sell him. Otherwise, that value is going to start to drop. And on top of all of that, his contract is up in 2.5 years' time. So he could be leaving us £26 million up front, going up to 35 million guaranteed. I have already eyed up a possible replacement, and it's Dani Lopez Gonzalez. It's the most Spanish name you've ever heard. Waiting on a work permit decision for this guy. Plays for PSG. Really, I'm looking for a player who's a backup left back, third choice. If they could play right back, that would be a bonus. Lopez kind of fits the bill in that regard. We're looking to snap him up for a measly £5.5 million. You can see PSG signed him only this year for £5.75 million, but he wasn't getting enough first-team football with them. When you compare him with Warunga, there's not a world of difference between the two players. Of course, Warunga maybe a bit better defensively, slightly quicker, but for, 2 years age difference and the current quality difference, I feel like selling Warunga for 35 million, signing Gonzalez for 5 million, it's a bit of a no-brainer. The other big dilemma I've got is this one. Jaime came to me a few days ago and said, hey, at the end of my contract, I'm going to be exploring options. My heart sank. I was sad. That is in, 18 months' time? Right now, he's not valued at a massive amount. Guide price of 18.5 to 23 million pounds. I have asked for 30 million being cheeky. No one's bid that much. Everton did bid, though, £25 million. I love Jaime. He's a very useful player to have. But do I want to lose him on a free at the end of his contract, or do I want £25 million? Do I need £25 million? I don't really know if I do. Let me know. What would you do? It's a bit of a weird one. The only other bit of transfer news that might or might not be happening is this with Nevada. Remember Nevada playing for Schalke when they got relegated and I eyed him up? Well, the Mexican forward's contract's running up at the end of this season. He wants £120,000 a week, which would make him comfortably the top earner at the club. But equally, we would be signing him on a free transfer. He's almost guaranteed really good resale value. He's a left-footed striker, so there might be a temptation to train him to play out in the wide area on the right-hand side and play him as an inside forward. It's a role that I think he could fit into pretty well. Maybe could be the replacement for Gaspar. Maybe could be a really good shooter for Alanis as well. And even if it really didn't work out with him, because we're signing him on a free, there's definitely resale potential there. So my sign Nevada, just the only concern really being the wages. And of course, if anyone else tries to sign him, apparently Real Madrid are interested. Now we have got a couple of players unavailable for today's game. Adu Jamfi is at the African Cup of Nations, so that's annoying. Sula's out injured, Ganino's out injured. Grassa actually got a few extra matches banned for the red card that he got in the previous league game that I showed you the red card of. With that in mind, this is the rotated team that we're kind of forced into playing. I say the rotated team. It's not a rotated team at all. It's the full strength 11. It's just been so long since I've had this team at my disposal. It's kind of not feeling like the regular team at this point. Only real bit of note is Sweeney making his debut at left centre-back in this game. And on top of that, McKillop coming in at defensive midfielder. That, of course, because the two centre-mids that I would probably play there in Ganino and also in Grassa, both unavailable for today's game. I know he's not anyone's favourite player. I do love what McKillop brings to the table. He tries hard, he's not technically gifted, but he's mentally and physically a specimen. I am starting with Alanis on the bench for this game. I did think about starting him, but he is a player who I've been playing in the rotated 11 and the best 11. His matches are really starting to add up, and having gone through December and January, he kind of deserves a rest. He is on the bench though, so don't be surprised if he has to come off the bench to save us in this game. Hopefully we're not going to need that. Also, it's snowy and it's cold, and I guess it's warm in Mexico, so I didn't want to get him chilly. Is this the first snowy game we've had in this year's Park to Prem, where the lines are blue and stuff? I'm not sure. Also, the blue lines are awful. If you're sat watching the video thinking, during highlights, I can't see the blue lines, I can't see them either. I've just realised with Wilford, Sweeney, McKillop, Bignot and Cadman all starting, 5 of our players are from England in our team. Of course, Guernsey is its own country. You know, you are from Guernsey, not from England if you're born in Guernsey, although people born in Guernsey can represent England. It's a little bit confusing, I know. But especially when you're this far in the future, it's not always that common that in the Premier League, as a Premier League club, you end up with a load of English players playing for you. I quite like it when you have domestic representation, be that in England or indeed any other league in Football Manager. Also, it's a bit green and yellow and green on yellow here, isn't it? I wouldn't call it a kit clash, but they could have changed their shorts, couldn't they? They should have changed their shorts. I'm not happy. The ball's yellow as well. And also, they're on the attack. I don't like this. What is that? Wilford, thank you for the save. 35 minutes into this game, wondering if I should have played Alanis. JV, set piece though, whips it back post. Rios, I was really expecting him to score, and I'm disappointed. After the goal fiesta we had against Wolverhampton Wanderers last match, I was expecting more of the same. Not really transpired like that in this first half. It's 0-0 at the break. It's not been a classic. I think the snow's affecting play. I'm going to tell the players we've not been good enough. I'm going to get a bit shouty here. I'm also, I think, going to change some stuff up kind of early. Cadman is struggling a little bit with fitness. Do I want to take him off? You know what? I'm going to bring in Diallo. And Diallo, by the way, he is now officially accomplished at left attacking mid. Hallelujah. Okay, maybe not. But he is going to come on and play in that area. I'm going to drop Lemos back. I'm going to drop JV to Regista, and I am going to bring in Jaime Alanis in this game. Jaime just always has green arrows next to his name. He's always got a really good trading rating. He's been in some really, really good form. We need a hero. I'm calling out for a hero to the end of the night to turn up in Norwich and perform in the snow. Hopefully Alanis is going to be it. Not entirely sure what's up with all the random musical references. I should get a few more in. Or just references to movies and books, you know. If Alanis doesn't show up, he could be the lost city of Alanis. No, move on. It was better in my head. Norwich on the attack. They probably deserve to score. The good news for us is Rios has read the play. And now Sweeney! Is that the first time we've seen him touch the ball? Potentially. There you go. £75 million pass to Buyak, who of course will be getting a few more minutes at left back, given the fact that Jamfi's away at AFCON. Didn't really mention it. Carabao Cup final, obviously a few months away now, but with the win against Wolves, we are in it. We will be taking on Liverpool, which not exactly looking forward to. Much like I'm not exactly looking forward to seeing Norwich in that final third. Again, they've been on top in this game. Norwich probably deserve to be winning. Our play here, we have not been good enough in this game. I'm just thinking about how I want to change things up. You know what? JV, you're going to stay as a regista. I'm doing a gamble here, everyone. I don't know if this will work. This used to be a really interesting shape last year in FM that worked quite nicely. We're going to go to the 4-1-4-1, but with 4 attacking mids, because we like to attack. I am going to have a couple of the attacking mids on support. In terms of in possession, we're going to go more direct with our play. Focus the play in the wide areas as well. Work it into the box. Let's just try and flood the centre attacking mid areas. Bignot struggling a little bit going into this game. Going to bring in Gaspar. But yeah, with the lack of a centre attacking mid for Norwich City, the regista can kind of sit there without too much immediate pressure. If anyone chooses to press him, there should be a more attacking player open. That's the theory. Let's see if the theory works out as, well, we have half an opportunity. It's collected by Caprill in goal for Norwich, who are going to, I imagine, favour themselves to come out here with a win with 20 minutes left. They have been the better team in this game. We have been subpar. Is it just a case of one of those games? Is it a case of a bit of fatigue kicking in? Oh my word, Sweeney. What a ball that could have been. It was very, very close to Gaspar, but I still rate it from the centre-back. He has got 17 passing, by the way. So don't be surprised if he launches a ball or two like that. Bit of defending needed by Rios, who wins it well. Unfortunately, it's Norwich on the attack again here, and they've got a man on this near side, cutting inside, and, well, I need not worry, that finish was tragic. Rojas on a booking, nobody liked that. I don't really have a right-back option other than Coppo, so Coppo, on you come. 15 minutes left, I'm shouting to man more. Getting shouty. I'm giving them my angry eyes. I'm like Mr. Potato Head. You know in Toy Story 2 where Mr. Potato Head's putting all the different eyes in? I've got my angry eyes out. They're on. Will we get a goal? Rios hasn't won it. It's going to fall to McKillop. I've bigged you up, mate. Oh my word. He's nobody's favourite, but he's my favourite. That is ridiculous. He's hit the crossbar. It barely crosses the line. The ball's not ended up in the back of the net. You think when the corner's dealt with, well, that's going to be the end of that chapter. Instead, it falls to McKillop. 1 touch, 2 touch, bang. Bang. I don't know what the director's doing. He was a bit drunk there operating the camera. But, fantastic goal. You might be wondering, Jack, are you going to go defensive now? Nah, we don't go defensive here, he says, as Norwich get a highlight immediately. Ball looping up in the air. Rios wins the header. It's not a great defensive header. Buljak needs to head it on its way. Banda. You can see we've still got plenty of men behind the ball here. It's not like we have no one in defence with this system. Unfortunately, it's Norwich in possession, and they are bringing the ball forward here. Rios half clears it. JV gives the ball away in an awful area, and oh my word. I mean, it's offside. It wouldn't have counted, I don't think, but we've just been let off the hook. Why have they got a set piece? Why are we doing this, Football Manager? They've hit the crossbar again. Remain calm. Everything's fine. Free kick, JV. A second goal here really would put this game beyond doubt. Can the Serbian Prince do it? He's been out of sorts lately, not performing as good, not in a rush to take this free kick, mind you. He hits it. It hits the woodwork. It falls to Rios. It's the centre-back's 14th goal of the season. He's just there in the box all the time. He's got the best anticipation in world football, I reckon. I'm starting to think that Rios is a time traveller. Like, he knows where the ball's going to be on any set piece before it's there, and he just positions himself for the goal. Do we know if he's won the lottery? You know, if he's gone back in time and used lottery numbers that he knew won, then we know he's a time traveller. I don't know. At this point, maybe I should get a lottery ticket. We've been very lucky here. Gaspar cutting inside. Deflects off Banda. Deflects off Banda. The history books are going to say we won this game 3-0. It was not a 3-0 kind of game. Let's look at the positives. It's a clean sheet. It's a Premier League win. Did we ride our luck? Absolutely. Aaron McKillop, that goal by you is probably going to be goal of the season. And what a time to score it. So with that result there, we do go top of the Premier League. You can see elsewhere, Liverpool have maintained their really, really good run of form. They won. Arsenal currently 4 points behind us, but we have got a game in hand over them. Tottenham, our closest rival, but we have still got those 2 games in hand. Of course, I've got an FA Cup replay game to play, so we're not getting a rest for a little while. At this moment in time, we really are suffering from success. We just have games constantly, and it is starting to affect the squad a little bit. This FA Cup replay really could have done without. If we'd beaten Exeter, we would have had a free day. Instead, we've got another midweek game. And when you look at this run of matches, it's kind of mad. We're going to have played a game almost every 3 or 4 days throughout the entire month of January. And at the end of the month, we've got Manchester United and Arsenal to play, albeit at home. That Carabao Cup final is going to be coming on the 1st of March. I think that's when we might be back next time. And much like last year, we might pair it up with a Conference League knockout round game against, well, a mystery team at this moment in time. Today's episode was not meant to be this long. I feel like you could probably sense the tiredness as the commentary went on. The rambling became more nonsensical than usual, and that really is saying something. I have got some transfer dilemmas. I'd love to know your thoughts on them. Were Runga out? Question mark. I think the kind of money we're being offered, £35 million for him, I'd be a fool not to take, given the fact he just really hasn't developed during his time at the club. And I think in Gonzalez, we've got a player who not only will be that backup left back that Warunga was as the 3rd choice, but can also play right back, which is nice. I think the 2 that are a little less clear are the Jaime one. Am I happy to lose him on a free in a year and a half's time, or do I just take £25 million now? That kind of money is kind of mad for him, I feel like. And the other player, Nevada, available as a free transfer, had a eye on him a few years ago, could add another Mexican striker to our midst. We could have Alanis and Nevada just tearing it up for Mexico on international breaks and tearing it up for Guernsey just every other weekend. That sounds good to me. This episode did take longer to make than usual because I kind of changed the plan halfway through. So if you did enjoy it, please do drop a like. I'm going to go to bed. Editing Jack will sort this out in the morning. Take it easy, folks. Have a lovely rest of your day. And until next time, it's me, Jack. I need to get the cans of Carabao ready. I'll put one in the fridge for the final. I'll see you then.